Okay, next we have different types of variances. We will cover these topics in our lecture, and of course, something that remains will be discussed in the next lecture. We will discuss the variance overview. What are variances? Why do we need to calculate variances? What is the purpose of doing variance analysis? The difference between static and flexible budget. Then we will discuss the direct material variances, material price variance, material usage variance. Then we will discuss the direct labor variances. Then this material and labor can be split into mix and yield. We will discuss these. And then this is the most difficult topic in variance analysis, overhead variances. They are the hardest. And finally, we will do a comprehensive example that covers all the above variances. So as to give you the final touch of the variances. So let us first start regarding a little overview about variance analysis. And of course, don't forget that we have also sales variances, sales quantity variance, sales price variance, and then we will discuss also the sale mix and yield variance also. Okay. First, let's have a quick overview. Why do we conduct variance analysis? We discussed that we set standards for our production. Let me show you a standard cost card and how it works. Let me show you that first. Okay, now this is your standard cost card. After every couple of years or 3 years, maybe in some companies 4 years, we set standards for cost. Senior management is involved, production managers, purchasing managers, quality controllers, management accountants, industrial engineers. We all sit together and then we analyze our production system. We analyze the workflow system. We analyze movements of material, time spent by different types of labor. And after a lot of studies, we set certain standards, certain targets. Like, for example, this is the typical standard cost card, that our standard selling price is going to be $20. That's the standard selling price for which we will sell our item. When we analyzed our production, we identified that each item should consume 3 kg of material. And as per the discussion with our purchasing manager, as per the market study, the price that we set up is $1.5 per kg. So this is the standard quantity that we should use in production. This is the standard rate at which we should purchase from the market. So this is not an enforced value. It is established through negotiation with the purchasing manager and also assessing the market price that is prevalent in the market at the moment. Then we discuss with the production manager and we establish 2 hours of production. It means each unit requires 2 hours. Then as per the labor contracts, we establish that $3 per hour is the labor rate. So this is the standard quantity of labor that should be used in each unit. And this is the standard rate we pay or we would pay to our labor. So this way we set standards for material quantity, standard for labor hours, standard for variable overheads, and then we also set the standard price. So remember, standard here means the target kg to be used, target hours, target rate for material, target rate for labor. So this becomes the foundation for our budget. Once we draw the budget, we will get the actual results. We compare our budget with the actual results and there will be some variances, differences from our targets. Those targets were not met, must be analyzed. Those targets that we went ahead, we achieved more than what was required, they must be analyzed. So that's the idea. Standard costing is the foundation of your budgeting and the variance analysis. So let us move back to the slide. So based upon the standards we set for our material, for our labor, for our variable overhead, for our fixed overheads, we set standards for different elements of cost, and then we get the actual performance. We compare our standards with the actual performance, and then there will be variances. Some variances will be favorable, some will be adverse, favorable, favorable. We must analyze all these variances for the purpose of performance evaluation. We want to evaluate the performance of our production manager. We want to evaluate the performance of our purchasing manager. We want to evaluate the overall performance in profitability. So this variance analysis is basically the basis of performance evaluation, where we have the set targets or standards and we compare our actual performance with the standards, and then there are certain deviations that needs to be analyzed. So remember, variance analysis is the basis of performance evaluation. When you calculate variances, what is variance? Difference between your standard budget versus the actual result. These variances could be favorable, mean good for the firm, and they could be unfavorable. Sometimes they're also called adverse. So whether favorable or adverse, they must be analyzed. We will also see how frequently, how many times do we get favorable or adverse variances? What is the direction of the variances, favorable or adverse? What is the trend? So we will see the frequency, direction, trend, the amount involved, so that we can control our costs, so that we can evaluate the performance of our different segments, our managers. So remember, variance analysis is based upon management by exceptions. Now, what does it mean? Let's say we have different areas to control. Let's say let's talk about the production cost: direct material, direct labor, variable overheads, fixed overheads. So we set certain standards, and then there were some actual results. And in the last column, we have variances. We set a certain standard for the direct material. We do the exact work as was required. We set a certain target for direct labor. We achieve the target as desired. But variable overhead was more than our expectation. So this is something that we need to put our attention to. So management by exceptions means that those areas of performance that are working as per our expectations, fine. They don't need any further evaluation. But those areas of performance that are not as per our expectations, those are exceptions, either favorable or adverse. They must be analyzed. They must be seen. Why is it so? So remember, variance analysis is just for the purpose of identifying who is responsible for what. Like the material price variance, it is the responsibility of the purchasing manager. Material usage variance, this is the responsibility of the production manager, right? So similarly, we would identify who is responsible for these variances. It is not a blame game. Not a blame game. We just want to ensure, we want to assess that who is the one who should be asked to explain, who is the one who must be held responsible. Not blame game, just for the organizational learning and for the purpose of knowing what went wrong, so that we can change things accordingly, so that such variances they do not occur. Now what happens? Let's say we set a standard, and based upon that standard we prepared a budget, and our budget showed that we will earn a profit of $100,000 as per the budget. After a quarter, or maybe after a year, whatever the time was decided, our profit was just $80,000. See, actual profit. Budgeted profit was 100,000, but the actual profit was just 80,000. Now we need to know what went wrong. We need to find some reason. When we start investigating, we will come to know that either it is because of the cost, or maybe it is because of the sale. Let us first analyze. When you say cost, cost is not just one thing. Cost could be the cost of material, cost could be the cost of labor, variable overhead cost, or fixed overhead cost, right? We will analyze these. And then material variance can further be divided into material price variance and material usage variance. Similarly, labor variance can be further divided into labor rate variance, also called the labor price variance, and labor efficiency variance. We will find an answer where things went wrong. We thought about profit to be 100,000 as per the budget, but the actual profit was lower. We need some justification. We need some answer. Is it because of material or labor or variable overhead or fixed overhead, or material price variance, usage, labor rate variance? We need to get an answer, right? This is the area where you will spend most of your time in variances. Almost 95% of your variances are on the cost side. Maybe your cost was more, but it is possible that the lower profitability, the actual lower profit, could be because you were able to sell low sales quantity, or maybe you had to lower the sale price. So whatever, we will have to find a reason why our so we must find an answer what went wrong. Our estimated budgeted profit was $100,000, but why did we earn less? We need to find an answer. Somewhere answer must be here in these variances. We need to find the reason. As I told you, most of our variances are related to the variances to cost and just a few for sales. So we will spend most of our time on cost variances. Let me show you the total cost variances we will be doing in our classes. These are the variances that we'll be focusing in detail. We will first find the direct material variance. Direct material variance is of two types: material price variance, price is more or less than the standard, or the material usage variance, usage was more or less than the standard. Then we will calculate the direct labor variances. Labor variance can also be split into labor rate variance and labor efficiency variance. I will share with you the formula sheet of all these variances, and it will be very easy for you to solve questions as per those formulas. Then we will discuss about the factory overhead variances. We know factory overhead are of two types, variable and fixed, right? And then we will learn that sometimes our material are substitutable. Like for example, we have three different types of material A, B, C. Sometimes we can use more A, less B, less C, sometimes more B, less A, less C. So materials can be substitutable. When this is the case, when we have different types of material which can be substituted, this usage variance can be further divided into mix variance and yield variance. We will learn this today, inshallah. And similarly, we may have different types of labor, labor class 1, labor class 2, labor class 3. So we can mix these labor with sometimes we can use more labor hours of labor 2 and less labor hours of labor 3. So this mixing of different types of labor, it will give us two types of variances: mix variance and yield variance, just like these, mix and yield, right? Once it is done, then we will analyze factory overhead variance into variable fixed. Variable factory overhead variance, also called the variable overhead, it can be split into spending and efficiency. Discuss all these with formulas, with questions. And fixed overhead variance can be split into production volume variance and spending variance. So you can see we will go deeper and deeper, and we will find the cause that why our budgeted profit, when it was 100,000, why did we earn less profit? We need to find what is the cause. What is the reason? Is it because somewhere here? We need to identify the problem area so that we can control our operations. We can take some corrective actions so that in the future we can earn our targeted profit, right? So that is the overall variance analysis overview. We have standards. Based upon standards, we draw our budgets, and then we compare our actual performance with budgets. It will result in variances. Variances can be favorable, can be adverse. Whether favorable or adverse, we must analyze both types of variances so that we can control our operations, we can evaluate the performances of our manager, and we can achieve our targets. So let us do a few questions related to overview so that to understand the concept in a better way. Okay, I think starting from here. In responsibility accounting system, a feedback report that focuses on the difference between budgeted amounts and the actual amounts. On one side, we have the budget. On the other side, we have the actual results. So it's basically budget versus actual. When this is done, what kind of report is it? When you have budget on one side, actual on other, so we identify variances which can be favorable, which can be unfavorable or adverse. So what kind of report is it? What kind of technique? Let's read the question again. In responsibility accounting system, a feedback report that focuses on the differences between the budgets and actual in an example of management by exceptions, means identifying where things are not as per our expectations. Whether a variance is favorable, whether it's adverse, we must analyze the favorable and adverse, because both of these, favorable as well as adverse, they are exceptions. Sometimes favorable needs investigation. Maybe let's say if there is a favorable price variance, means let's say the standard price was $10, but our purchasing manager got the item for $8. So it apparently looks good that we bought an item that is $2 cheaper, but maybe if this item is less costly, maybe it may not be of the right quality. So it might result in unhappy customers. It might result in order cancellation. So we don't want that to happen. So remember, whether a variance is favorable or adverse, it is an exception. It should not have happened. Even favorable variance should not come. Adverse variance should not come. If it comes, both of these, they must be investigated. This is called management by exceptions, and that makes A to be the correct option. Next. Next, we have which of the following factors should not be considered when deciding whether to investigate a variance. Should not be considered. Pay special attention to what is required. Should not be considered. Magnitude of the variance. What is the dollar amount? Small or big? It should be considered. Trend of the variance, whether it is increasing over time or it's decreasing, yes, it should be seen. Possibility or likelihood that an investigation will eliminate future occurrences of the variance. If you think that this variance can be controlled in the future, then you should spend some money, otherwise not. So this is a point you will see. So A, B, and C will be considered. What should not be considered? Whether the variable is favorable or adverse. We don't see that. No problem. If it's favorable or unfavorable, both must be investigated. It's not that we will only investigate the adverse or unfavorable variance and we will not investigate favorable. You will investigate both favorable and adverse because both are exceptions and both must be investigated, right? So whether variance is favorable or adverse, we don't care. We must investigate both. So this must not be considered. Rest of the options are correct. All right, so going back. Next, we have static versus flexible budget. Now, this is a very important concept you must learn. Now, let's say, as per the standard costing, I prepared a budget for 10,000 units, right? Based upon my budgets, for 10,000 units, this must be the direct material I should use. This must be the direct labor. This must be the variable overheads. This must be the fixed overhead, and so on and so forth. This was the original budget, right? This is called the original budget. Sometimes it's called the static budget. Static budget or the original budget. Now there's a problem. My actual production and sale was just 7,000 units. Budget was for 10,000, but the actual production and sale was 7,000. This is the actual result. Now, if you make comparison between 10,000 budget and 7,000 actual results, this is ridiculous. Not good, because these numbers are based upon 10,000 units and these numbers are on 7,000 units. So I can't make any comparison. If I do, let's say, if I make any comparison and if any variance is calculated, that is not very useful. Such variance is called the static budget variance, right? I will show you in the next slide. Then what I should do? I can't match these two together because they are totally different numbers based upon 7,000 and based upon 10,000 units. What I should do, a smart approach, I should draw a new budget called the flexed budget or flexible budget. I will draw a new budget for 7,000 units. Let's say if 7,000 units were produced, this should be the material used, this should be the labor incurred, this should be the variable overhead, this should be the fixed overhead, and all the other costs. Now this makes a perfect sense. Then now you're comparing the right things together. That if you produce 7,000 units, this should be the cost. And as per the actual 7,000 units, this is the actual cost. Now make line by line comparison. This is much more meaningful and much more beneficial for the performance evaluation, for cost controlling purpose, right? So let me show you an example here that will explain the idea. Now, please follow. What happened? I prepared an original budget, a static budget for 18,000 units. As per my original budget, this should be my revenue, my material, labor, variable overheads, contribution, and then this should be the fixed overhead. This is what I expect as my operating income. What happened? My actual results were only 16,500. Actual results only 16,500. Now this is a problem. I can't and I should not compare these. Why? Because this is the level of 18,000 units and this is only for 16,500. There is no comparison. They are two different level of outputs. You can't come. If you do, let's say, if you make such a comparison is called, or the variance you calculate is called the static budget variance. Static budget variance, the comparison between the static budget and the actual results. Actual results mean actual quantity, actual price. Static budget is a standard quantity, standard price. Very insignificant, not very useful for me. Then what I will do, I will make a smart approach. What I will do, I will draw up a new budget called the flexible budget, in which I draw a new budget for 16,500. This should be the sales, variable cost, labor, material, and all these. Now, this should be the result as per 16,500 units. And this is my actual result. Now, this is a much useful comparison, that if I produce and sell 16,500, I should have these numbers for revenue and different types of cost. And I have these actual numbers and cost. This is a very useful comparison for me. If I compare each item one by one, the variances I'm calculating, they are called flexible budget variance. Comparing the budget for 16,500 with the actual result of 16,500. This is much more meaningful, right? And that's where we will be spending most of our time. Now, if you compare this flex budget with the static budget, original, if you make such a comparison, this comparison will give you what you call the sales volume variance, right? Remember, the comparison between actual results and flexible budget, it is called the flexible budget variance. The comparison between original budget and the flexible budget, it is called the volume variance. And the comparison between actual results and static budget, this is called the static budget variance, which is very unimportant, insignificant, useless. For me, I consider this budget to be a totally waste of time. No meaning at all. That I wanted to produce 18,000, I produced 16,500. These numbers are technically not comparable. So this budget, fine, it's static budget variance, but it has basically no much utility for management accountants, right? So that is the idea. Let us try this in a couple of questions to explain the idea. Now, this is it. Based upon the past experience, a company has developed the following budget formula for estimating its shipping expense. The company's shipment averaged 12 pounds per shipment. This is the average size of our shipment. Shipping cost, $16,000 is fixed. Then every pound we ship, it costs us $0.50 per pound, right? So this is the formula which we will use to calculate our shipping cost. Okay. The planned activity and the actual activity regarding orders and shipments for the current month are given below. These are the sales orders, shipments, unit shipped, sales planned as per the budget, and these are the actual. Okay, information is given. Let us see what are we required to do. The actual shipping cost for the month was 21,000. So we have been given the actual result. What we should do, we should calculate the flexible budget. What should be the amount with which we should compare the actual result? I told you, you should compare your actual with flexible. That is more meaningful variance. That is more helpful for performance evaluation, for cost controlling purposes. And that's what our intention should be. Now, how do we calculate the flexible budget? For flexible budget, you should use this formula. As it says, this is the formula we use for calculating the flexible budget. How many pounds did you ship? Because as per this formula, you should input the actual pounds shipped. Actual pounds shipped during the month were 12,300, which means if we apply this number in the above formula, 16,000 is a fixed cost that we should pay. Then every pound we ship, it cost us $0.5. How many pounds are we going to ship? 12,300. So multiplying 0.5 with 12,300 plus 16,000. So as per my flex budget, my cost should be 22,150. As per my flexible budget formula, this should be my cost, but my actual cost is less. It is less by 11,50. 1150 is my favorable variance. That is not required. The question only says the appropriate monthly flexible budget allowance for shipping costs for the purpose of performance evaluation is 20 to 150, and that makes D to be the correct option. This is what you should be comparing your budgets with. So remember, for performance evaluation purpose, you compare your flex budget with the actual results so that you can make a much meaningful comparison. I told you, let's go back, that our most of variance computations will involve material, labor, and factory overhead. Because if you remember our original example, this was our original budgeted profit, and this is the actual profit for the period. We need to answer why there is a difference. Let us first try to find the answer from cost side. And when I say cost side, cost could be from the material, labor, and variable and fixed overheads. And then we will further go down. So let us first focus on the cost side. And in our next lecture, we will discuss the variances that might be because of the sales side. So this is the complete cost side structure you will see. Material variance into price and usage and all this. So this is our next area in 15.3. And now we are going to do these variances one by one. Now let us first, bit by bit, let us see how do we calculate the direct material variance. Direct material variance means what was the standard of material we should have used and what was the actual material used and the actual rate. So this material variance is split into material price variance and the usage variance. Price variance will calculate whether did we buy material at a higher price or lower price than the standard, and usage variance will calculate whether did we use more quantity than the standard or less quantity. So let us see the formulas that we use. These are the formulas we use to calculate the material price variance and the quantity variance. Sometimes also, remember, direct material quantity variance is sometimes also called the material efficiency variance, also sometimes called material usage variance. I will give you the sheet. It contains all the names, all the reference names, sometimes quantity, efficiency, and usage. It's all there. So it will be helpful for you to memorize and solve these questions. Okay, now let us first calculate and understand the formula for direct material price variance. Direct material price variance calculates the difference between standard price and actual price. Standard price is what the price should be as per our target. Standard price is the price that we thought we will pay. Actual price is the price we actually paid. So the difference between the standard price and actual price, multiply this with the actual quantity given in the question. Now listen to me very carefully. If the result of this formula is negative, that means it's an adverse variance, unfavorable, because your actual price is more, standard price is less, so the price is more than the standard, so it's a negative adverse variance. But if the result is positive, that means that the standard price is more, actual price is less, so the price actually you got was less than the standard, so this will be favorable. Please remember, gentlemen, I have arranged my formulas on the sheets I will share with you in such a way, whenever you use my formula, if the result is positive, that means a favorable variance. Whenever the result of my formula comes negative, it is an adverse variance or unfavorable variance, right? So I will use these formulas. They are the same in my sheet. So I will share the sheet with you immediately after the class, and you must use that. You must memorize the formulas. And once you do, it will be very easy for you to do the variance related questions. Now here it is that quantity variance, sometimes called efficiency variance or usage variance. It is the difference between the standard quantity that you should have used as per the standard minus actual quantity that you actually used multiplied by the standard price. Please note down these formulas. Please note them right now, because I'm going to solve the questions and I will use these formulas and I will show you how we can input the numbers and how we can find our answer. Please note this down. All right, now let us do lots of questions related to material price variance and usage variance, lots of questions, so that you fully understand the concept. I believe more in questions. All right. Garland Company uses standard cost system. Fine. That is the basis of our budgeting. The standard for each finished unit of product allows 3 pounds of plastic This 3 pounds of plastic allowed, this is called the standard quantity you should use, SQ, at the rate of 0.72. This is the standard price of material. You should use 3 pounds for each unit. That is the standard quantity as per our original standard. And this is the standard price at which we should buy our material. What happened? During December, Garland bought 4,500 pounds at 0.75. This 0.75 per pound, this is the actual price, AP, we paid. And we used 4,100 pounds. Remember, this is the actual quantity used. This is the actual quantity purchased. Okay. And it says we used 4,100 pounds, but we purchased 4,500 pounds in producing 1,300 finished units. What is the material purchase price variance? We have to calculate the material purchase price variance. Purchase price variance. I'm sure you have the formula. Purchase price variance is the standard price minus actual price into actual quantity purchased. Actual quantity purchased, right? Because the question clearly says the quantity purchased, material purchase price variance. Now just plug in the numbers. Our standard price is 0.72. The actual price we paid was 0.75. Multiply by the actual quantity purchased, it is 4,500. So you can clearly see when I will solve, I will get a negative number, 0.72 minus 0.75 multiplied by 4,500. It gives me a negative 135. Whenever you get a negative in my formulas, I'm not talking about Gleim, Hawk or Wiley. I'm talking about my formulas. When you use my arranged formulas, any negative number means adverse. Adverse also means unfavorable. So that means 135 adverse, that is C. Okay, now we got the answer. Now let's say if the question says you need to find the price variance for material used, there will be little change in the formula. Then what I will do, instead of using quantity purchased, let me erase this and then I will explain. Remember, our answer is 135. Let's say if the question said material price variance for quantity used, then in that case, I will use the quantity used. Quantity used. And this is my quantity used, 4,100. In that case, my answer would be 0.72 less 0.75 multiplied by 4,100. 1, 2, 3. See, it's there. 1, 2, 3 is also there, but this is the variance for quantity used. This is not my answer. It is even there, but this is for quantity used. I need to find the price variance for quantity purchased, and that makes C to be my correct option. So this was an important concept. You must keep that in mind, whether the variance is on the purchase price for the quantity purchased, or is it for the quantity used. Lots of questions are coming. Now, this is a beautiful question, lovely question. Please be with me while I read this question. David Rogers, he is the purchasing manager at Fairway Manufacturing Corporation. He was able to acquire a large quantity of direct material from a new supplier at a discounted price. So he got material at a discounted price, mean the price was good. So it will mean that we will have a favorable price variance. Marion Connor, the inventory supervisor, is concerned because the warehouse has become overcrowded and some things had to be rearranged. So she's worried. She's the inventory manager. There's a third person also, Brian Johns. He's the vice president. So let's see first. David Roger is the purchasing manager who bought very cheap material. Marion Connor, she's inventory supervisor. She's worried that the space is short and we have lots of goods to arrange. And there's third guy here, Brian Johns, who is the vice president of production. He's concerned about the quality of discounted material. He's worried that maybe the material is cheap, so it may not be of good quality. However, the engineering department tested a new material this new material and indicated that they are of acceptable quality. Quality is good. Quality is quiz, right? At the end of the month, Fairway experienced a favorable direct material usage variance. Material was good in efficiency. Favorable direct labor usage variance. It took less labor hours. Usage variance was also adverse, favorable for labor. And a favorable direct material price variance. This has to be. Price variance was favorable because the quantity was purchased at a very attractive price, a discounted price. Now, the usage variance was solely the result of higher yield from the new material. Usage was good because the material was very good. Now, if you want to reward or if you want to assign who is responsible, the favorable direct material price variance is considered to be the responsibility of the purchasing manager. Purchasing manager is the person who purchased these materials at a very good price. So he's the one who is responsible, not inventory supervisor, not vice president, not engineering. Only he is responsible for the price variance because he got this material at a discounted price. So the price variance is the responsibility of the purchasing manager. That makes a clear understanding that the price variance should be attributed to the purchasing manager. Okay, now instead of just reading the information, let us first see what is required. It says, what is the direct material price variance? We should immediately write down the formula. We know material price variance, MPV, is equal to standard price we should pay, actual price we actually paid, multiplied by the actual quantity used or purchased, whatever is given in the question. Now let's read the question. Data regarding mill company's direct material cost is as follows. Actual unit cost is $2. That is the actual price. Standard unit cost, the standard price is 2.2, right? Actual quantity purchased and used, they are both same 28. So there is no issue regarding actual quantity used or purchased, they are the same. So this is going to be the third input right here. So just plug in the number. Standard price is 2.20. Actual price is 2 multiplied by the actual quantity, that is 28,000. And just simplify. I told you when the result is positive in my formulas, it's a favorable variance. So when you solve, you get a nice, beautiful, lovely number of $5,600. So that is plus. That means it's a favorable one. And you're going to go for C, 5,600 favorable plus. And that's your answer. Now, this is a good one because in this question, you will do material efficiency as well as the static budget variance. So the rest is different. Okay, let's this one. Okay. A manufacturer, what we need is the company incurred material efficiency variance. Remember, material efficiency variance, material usage variance, material quantity variance, they are all the same. They are all same. Efficiency, usage, quantity, they are all same. So don't you confuse that there's something different. It's same. Standard quantity that we should have used minus actual quantity we actually used multiplied by the standard price. Khalas, just need to plug in the numbers. Okay, here we go. A manufacturer of radios purchases components from subcontractors for assembly into complete radios. Each radio requires 3 units each of part X, which means the 3 units are used in each finished product, which has a standard cost of 2.9. This is the standard price, SP. During June, the company had the following experience with respect to part X. This is the data given. We purchased $36,000. By paying $36,000, we bought 12,000 units. We consumed 10,000 of part X, and we manufactured 3,000 radios. We need 3 things. What is the standard quantity of part X we should have used? What is the actual quantity of parts we actually used? And what is the standard price of the part we used? Now, first, let us find standard quantity that we should have used. Look at this. How many radios did you produce? You produced 3,000 radios, right? Actual radios manufactured. As per our original standard, our standard tells us each radio should use 3 units of part X. If you produce 3,000 radios, then you should use 3,000 times 3. you should use 9,000 parts. You should use 9,000 parts. But look at this. What you have done. Very bad. Maafi quiz. You consume 10,000. See, as per the standard, 3,000 radios should consume 3,000 into 3, 9,000 units. But you consumed 10,000. You consumed more than the standard. This is not going to be good. This will result in adverse variance. What is the standard price of part X? It is given as 2.9. You need to know your formulas and just plug in the numbers and you'll get your answer. So if you solve this 9,000 less 10,000, clearly it's negative times 2.9. It is adverse. Negative, I told you, negative in my formulas would mean unfavorable or adverse. So it is unfavorable, 2,900 unfavorable. That makes A to be the correct option, right? And A it is. Next. Now, it says the amount that will be shown on a static budget for part X usage during the month. Remember, the static budget is the original budget. Static budget is the original budget that we made. And remember, static budget uses the standard quantity at standard price. Remember, standard quantity, original budget, standard price. Okay, now how many units did we plan to produce here, right? Let's read the question. It says each radio requires 3 units of each part, which has a standard cost of 2.9. During the company had the following experience with respect to part X. You manufactured 3,000 radios. This is the actual quantity you produce. And as per the standard, you should use 3 parts. That means 3 times 3, 9,000, right? Each part has a standard price of 2.9. So this is the standard quantity you should have used. And this is the standard price. So we need to calculate the static budget, just static budget only. Standard quantity that we should have used for part X is 9,000. And the standard price is 2.9. So 9,000 times 2.9 gives you 26,100. So this is the original static budget, which perfectly matches with your option A. Okay, now this is a good one again. And I think there should be 2 parts or just 1 part only. All right. This is a good one because there are many things to calculate here. Christopher Akers is the Chief Executive Officer of SBL Incorporated, a masonry contractor. The financial statements have just arrived showing 3,000 loss on the new stadium job. That was budgeted to show a $6,000 profit. Now, this is something disturbing. We took a contract and we thought that there will be $6,000 profit, but instead of profit, there is a loss. Actual and budgeted information relating to the material for the job are given below. Bricks, number of bundles, 3,000. But we thought we will use 2,850 bundles, but we actually used 3,000 bundles. Bundles of brick, 2,850 were budgeted, but we actually used more. So clearly the quantity budget was less, actual quantity was more. Price was $8 per bundle, but we paid $7.9 less. So price variance is clearly favorable, but the usage is adverse. Which of the following is correct statement regarding the stadium job? Let us first calculate the price variance. Let us first calculate price. Material price variance is the standard price minus actual price multiplied by the actual quantity purchased. Our standard price as per the budget was $8. The actual price paid was $7.9. And what is the actual quantity bought? The actual quantity bought was 3,000 bundles. So if you multiply the result with 3,000, I believe you are going to have a favorable variance. 8 minus 7.9 multiplied by 3,000. It is 300 favorable. But in option A, the price variance is 285. This is incorrect. A option is not correct. Let us try the other one. Let us calculate now. Oh, this is already given. Price variance we have already calculated. This is 300. Without doubt, that's your right answer. This is your right answer. Let us calculate the efficiency variance also, just for the sake of practice. Material efficiency variance, material usage variance, material quantity variance, kullu same, miya fi miya. It is the standard quantity we should use minus actual quantity we use multiplied by the standard price. Remember, you need to know the formula as well. The standard quantity we should have used as per our original budget was 2850. The actual quantity we used was 3000 multiplied by the standard price, which is given as 8. If you calculate, it's going to be an adverse variance 2850 less 3000 multiplied by 8. It is 1200 adverse, but as per this question, the adverse variance is 1150. This is wrong. Anyways, we got our right answer. Our answer is option B. Perfect. Okay, this is good one. Price variance. The question says calculate the price variance, material price variance. Simply write the formula. Material price variance is the standard price minus actual price multiplied by, it could either be actual quantity. Now, please listen. Very fine point. It could either be actual quantity purchased or actual quantity used. We don't know which of these we should use as per the question. Let us read the information carefully. A company isolates its raw material price variance in order to provide the earliest possible information. We need the information as early as possible. Now, if I ask you, if we need the variance information as early as possible, so can we get this using the purchase price variance or the use variance? Do we purchase first or do we use first? Since we purchase first we purchase and then we use. First we purchase, then we use. So it means if we calculate the purchase price variance, this will provide us the earliest possible information. This was a very fine point. If you need the earliest possible information as quickly as possible, surah, that's what you call in Arabic, as quickly as possible. So you should calculate the purchase price variance because this comes first. Usage comes baden, later. So we should apply the first leg of the formula. Now need to put in the numbers. Standard price, if you read the information, it says 150 units of finished goods are to be produced and each unit requires 3 pounds of material, and this is the standard price. This is the SP, the standard price, right? Actual results for the year were as follows. We produced 160 units. Raw material purchased was 500. That's what we need. Raw material used, that we don't need because we don't need the usage variance. We need the material purchase price variance. And the cost per pound, the actual price paid, it's 2.0. That's AP. We have everything we need. Just plug in the numbers. This is the actual price. This is the standard price. Just plug in the right numbers. Standard price is $2. Actual price we paid is 2.02 multiplied by the actual quantity purchased, that is 500,000. All right. So what do we have here? Not a good information, not a good result. It is an adverse unfavorable variance of 10,000 because the number is negative. I told you a negative would mean unfavorable, and that makes C to be the correct option. C is the right answer. Next. Jackson direct material usage variance, direct material efficiency variance, direct material quantity variance. There are different names to call it. We should immediately write down the formula. We know direct material efficiency variance or usage variance is equal to standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. We just need to find these three things. Let's read the information. Remember, for only material. Jackson Industries employs a standard cost system, which is in which direct material inventory is carried at standard cost. Jackson has established the following standards for the prime cost of 1 unit of product. Direct material, we use 5 pounds for each unit. The standard price of direct material is 3.6. That's what we need. Direct labor, we are not interested at the moment. During May, Jackson purchased 125,000 pounds. That's the quantity purchased at a total cost of 475. If you use these two pieces of information, you can calculate the actual price. If you paid $475,000 to acquire 125,000 pounds, this will give you the price per pound, 475 divided by 125. That gives you 3.8. So $3.8 is your actual price. This is your AP. This is your SP. What else do we need? The total factory wages, not interested. What else? Using 108,000 pounds of material. This is what was used. Now we need to see, do we have to calculate efficiency variance? Yes, it doesn't require actual quantity purchased. That is for the price variance. We have to calculate the usage variance. We got everything what we need. We got the standard price right here. We got the standard quantity right here. Each unit should use 5 kg or 5 pounds of material. How many units did you produce? You produced 22,000 units. Look at this. Jackson manufactured 22,000 units. As per the standard, we should use 5 pounds of material. So 22,000 units should consume 22 multiplied by 5. That is 110,000. So you should consume 110,000 pounds of material. What is the actual quantity you used? Jackson manufactured 22,000 units at the rate of 5. It should use 110, but it actually used 108. Whereas the standard price is given as 3.6. You need to extract the information correctly and you will get correct answer. So I believe here you will have a favorable variance of, if you calculate this, you will see it comes out to be positive 7,200 because you were supposed to use 110, but you only use 108. You use less material. That's why usage variance or quantity variance or efficiency variance, it is favorable 7,200, and that makes D to be the correct option. And it should be D. Same question, but this time you need the price variance. I should not have erased everything. This is your standard price as per the question. This is your actual price we calculated in the previous question. 475 upon 1 to 5, it was, I believe, 3.8. Let me recheck that. 475 upon 125. Yes, 3.8. This is the actual price, AP. All right. We need to calculate the now we are into a second area. We haven't yet done the labor. Fine, let's move back. We are now into labor. Labor variances, that is this part now. So we have done your material variances. Now we have direct labor variances. So we have done the direct material price variance, direct material usage variance. Now we are going to do the direct labor rate variance and efficiency variance. Once we are done with the direct labor variances, then we will do the material mix and yield variance and labor mix and yield variance. So at least this part would be over. So far, what we have done, we have just learned this formula in the previous slide. Price variance, standard price minus actual price into actual quantity. This actual quantity sometimes is quantity purchased, sometimes it's quantity used. And the quantity variance is standard quantity that you should have used minus actual quantity that you actually used, multiply the standard price. If you see my formula sheets, you will see the same formula for labor also. But in labor, AQ would mean the actual quantity of hours worked, standard price of labor, actual price of labor. In the quantity variance for labor, it's going to be standard quantity of hours that should have been used, actual quantity of labor hours actually used, multiplied by the standard price of labor per hour that we paid. So the formula will use the same characters, AP, SQ, AQ. Let me show you in our labor variance. See, the same formula. Labor variances, also called the rate variances, it is exactly the same as material price variance. Actual quantity, but here actual quantity means the actual labor hours. Standard price, the labor rate, AP, the actual labor rate. And efficiency variance means SQ, the quantity of hours we should have used, actual quantity of hours we actually use for workers, and the rate standard price. So formulas are exactly the same, but just it's for the labor. Now you can just directly apply this. And of course, this is something that I should have discussed, a little discussion here on service organization. Since service organizations like banks, insurance companies, brokerage houses, they do not use material. For such organization, they are more interested in direct labor variances, because service organization, they do not use material in their production, they provide services. And here the labor variances, yes, this is something very relevant for the service organization that are in the financial service industry. So service organization, they will primarily be interested in the labor variances because this is more relevant for their type of organization. So let us apply these formulas. Our formulas are the same for rate and for efficiency. They are exactly the same as we saw in the material variances. Let's apply these in the question, and this is the question we have right in front of us. Okay, so we have got the data related to material, but here it says you need to find the labor rate variance, which means we now need to look at the things in a totally different way. For remember, you have the sheet. Direct labor rate variance or price variance is equal to the standard price per hour, actual price per hour, multiplied by the actual quantity of hours worked. We need these three things. Look at side of labor. We use 1.25 labor hours on each unit of product. Our labor is paid at the rate of $12 per hour. This is the standard price of labor. Done. One element is found out. Next, during May, Jackson purchased these many pounds. We are not interested in material. We are interested in labor. The total factory wages for May were 364,000, 90% of which were direct labor, and we are interested in direct labor. So it means we will calculate 90% of this number, which is 364 times 90%, that is 327,600. This is 90% of 364. And this is for how many hours? This is for 28,000 labor hours. So if we are paying $327,600 for 2,800 labor hours, that would mean what is the actual labor rate? 327,600 upon 28,000. It is $11.7, $11.7 per labor hour. Now, this is the actual price you paid, right? Standard price was $12 per hour. Actual price we paid to the labor was 11.7 per hour. What is the actual quantity of hours we use from laborers? 28,000. You have everything you need. Standard price we pay to our worker is $12. Actual price we paid was 11.7 as per the information given, and actual quantity of hours worked was 28,000. If you know the formula, if you know how to extract the information from the question, it's not a big deal. You will straight 28,000, so it's going to give you 8,400, and it is going to be plus $8,400, and that is plus means it's a favorable variance, and that's going to be A. A is your answer. Now, why it appears to be favorable? Because our standard rate was $12, but we actually paid 11.7. So we paid less than the standard, and that is the favorable variance, and A is the right answer. Same question, but here we are required to calculate the direct labor efficiency variance. Remember, direct labor efficiency variance or direct labor usage variance or direct labor quantity variance. Haza kullu same. Miya fi miya. Direct labor efficiency, direct labor usage, or direct labor quantity. And how do we calculate that? Standard quantity of hours that we should have used as per our standards, actual quantity of hours that we actually used, multiplied by the standard price of hour we pay to our workers, right? If you just look at this, as per our standard, we should use 1.25 hours for each product, for each unit. How many units did we produce? We produced 22,000 units. If each unit is supposed to take 1.25, then 22,000 units should consume 22,000 into 1.25. It should use 27,500. This is called the actual quantity, standard quantity that you should have used. So 27,500 is the standard quantity that you should have used as per your standards, as per your standard hours allowed. But unfortunately, you ended up using 2,800 labor hours. Actual hours worked were more than the standard. Multiply this with the standard price. What is the standard price of labor? This is given right here. $12 is the standard labor price. Just plug it in, $12. And if you simplify, you should be surprised because it's an adverse variance. We should have used 27,500 hours, but we used 28,000 hours, more hours than the standard, and it will definitely result in an adverse variance, and adverse variance, it is 6,000 adverse, unfavorable. Right? Because you used more hours than the standard, and that makes B to be our correct option. And if you click B, it is correct. Next. Again, a little revision for ourselves. Same question, but I think different. It is Arrow. The previous was Jackson. This one is Arrow. I think there are three questions related to Arrow: direct material, Arrow direct labor, Arrow direct labor usage. So a single question that contains multiple parts. So let us read it carefully. In the first part, we are required to calculate the direct material usage variance. Direct material usage or efficiency variance, many words are used, or quantity variance. It's equal to standard quantity we should have used minus actual quantity we actually used multiplied with the standard price. Right. Now look at this. We just need to look at the material side only. As per our standard, we should use 8 pounds on each unit. Right? How many units did we produce? Arrow manufactured 19,000 units. If 19,000 units are produced and each unit should use 8 pounds, then as per the standard, our standard quantity allowed is 19,000 times 8, that is 152. Our standard quantity should have been 152,000 pounds. But what is the actual quantity you used? You used 142,500. Using 142,500, this is the actual quantity used. 142,500. Multiply this with the standard price of material. This is the standard price. 1.8 per pound. If you input the standard price, and as you can see, you use less material than standard, you use 152,000, you use 142,500, whereas the standard was 152. So you saved a lot of material. 142,500 multiplied by 1.8. So it is clearly giving you a plus number, which is 17,100, which means it's a favorable variance. Despite our happiness, we must investigate why this variance is favorable. There has to be some justification for that. So this is 17,100 favorable. B is the answer. Same question, but this time we need labor rate and labor efficiency. So our focus would be on the labor side. All right. First, we need to calculate the direct labor rate or price variance. Labor rate variance or price variance. Standard price minus actual price multiplied by the actual quantity of hours worked. Look at the labor side only. Labor allowed is on $8 per labor hour. This is the standard price of labor. $8 per labor hour, right? Now, if you read the last line here, during November, Arrow purchased 160 material, were not interested in material. The total factory wages for November were $42,000, 90% of which were direct. If you take 90% of 42,000, that gives you 37,800. 37,800 is for the direct labor cost, and this is for how many labor hours? It is for 5,000 labor hours. This is the actual time work. So if you bring 5,000 in the denominator, this should give you the actual price of labor, and it comes out to be 7.56. $7.56 per labor hour. This is the actual price. So, gentlemen, we have the standard price $8, actual price 7.56, multiplied by the actual quantity of hours worked. Our laborers work for 5,000 hours, so which means actual quantity is 5,000 labor hours. If you simplify this, you should get your answer 8 minus 7.56 multiplied by 5,000. That gives you 2,200, and it's a plus. It's a plus number, and I told you when it's plus, it's favorable, and that means A is the right answer. A it is. Now we have to calculate the labor usage variance or efficiency variance. Efficiency variance, usage variance, labor quantity variance, all the same. It's standard quantity of hours we should have used minus actual quantity of hours we actually used multiplied by the standard price. Standard price of labor is right here, 8. Now look at this. As per the information given, each unit should use 0.25 hours as per the standard. How many units did you produce? You produced 19,000 units. As per the standard, you should use how many hours? 19,000 multiplied by 0.25. That is 4750. This is what you call the standard quantity of hours that you should have used. But how many hours did you use? You use more hours. You use 5,000 hours instead, 5,000 labor hours. So as per the standard, you should have used 4750 hours, but you use 5,000 hours, more hours than the standard, and multiply this with the standard rate of labor, that is 8. It is clearly going to give you adverse variance. 4750 less 5,000, multiply this with 8, you have an adverse variance of $2,000. The reason, you use more labor hours than allowed by the standard, means it's an adverse variance for 2,000, and that's going to be C as your answer. Okay. Question number 69, actual hours worked. Hours worked, it has to be related to labor. But which formula can we use? You need to see all the elements given. Tub company uses standard cost system. The following information pertains to direct labor for product B for the month of October. Standard hours allowed for actual production. Whatever you produce, it should have taken these many hours. This is the standard quantity of hours allowed. Standard quantity that you should have used for whatever product you made. This is SQ. Actual rate paid to the labor, this is the actual price. This is the standard price. And this is the labor efficiency variance. Now, that's our starting point. This is our starting point. That's from where we should start. Labor efficiency variance, we know, is equal to standard quantity of hours we should have worked minus actual quantity of hours we actually worked multiplied by the standard price. We should have three things out of these four in this formula. Do we have labor efficiency variance? Yes. Do we have standard quantity? Yes. Do we have standard price? Yes. What we don't have is the actual quantity, and that is what we need to find out. See, and I remember I told you, my formulas adverse would mean negative. Since your labor efficiency is adverse 1600, so it's negative 1600. If you don't put negative, you will get a wrong answer. Negative, adverse means negative. In my world, it's negative 1600. You'll get it correct. Okay. Standard quantity, as per the information, you should have used 2,000 labor hours. Actual quantity is missing. That's what we need to find out. And standard price is given as $8. Just you have to simplify. It's going to be 2,000 minus actual quantity into standard price. 8 will become here in the denominator 1600 upon 8. So it's going to be 2,000 minus AQ. 1600 negative upon 8 will give you 200 negative. Remember, it's negative 200. Since we have to find AQ, so you will take AQ on the other side. It will become plus, and 200 on this side. So it's going to be AQ is equal to 2,000 plus 200. That means 2,200. And that makes D to be the correct option. It was a good question involving various elements of your labor variances. All right, so we have these three questions, and I think they are very good because they are going to revise what we have done so far. They will revise your direct material price variance, material efficiency variance, and labor rate variance. And after that, we will move to the next mix and yield variance area. Okay. First, we need to calculate the direct material price variance. Immediately, you should write down the formula. Material price variance or rate variance is the standard price minus actual price into the actual quantity, right? Just that. And just look at the material side only, because that's what we need. Actual unit of input, $28. This is basically the actual price, AP for material. Standard price or unit of input, that's the standard price, SP. We got both things, SP, AP. We need the actual quantity. and actual quantity. Remember, material is your input, not output. Material is the input. So there are two things: actual inputs of units of actual output. We are not interested in output. We are interested in input for material, 190. So that's what you're going to replace with AQ. Remember. So standard price is 24 for material. Actual price we paid is 28 for material. Multiplied by the actual quantity as per the question is 190. If you simplify, it's going to be a massive negative number, quite a massive one. It is 760. 760 negative. Negative in my world means it's adverse, which means it's going to be B. So you can see the price variance is adverse because our standard price was 24, but we ended up paying 28. So our price variance is adverse. Same question, but this time we need labor efficiency, material efficiency variance. And for this, we have the formula: material efficiency variance, usage quantity variance is equal to standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price. Do we have standard quantity? Yes. Standard input per unit of output. Each unit should use 10 units of material. Fine. How many units did you produce? You produced 20,000 units. And as per our standards, each unit should use 10 pounds or 10 kg of material. Means 20,000 units should consume 200,000 of the standard quantity that you will replace here. What was the actual quantity used? Actual quantity used was 190. Right? You should have used 200,000, but you used 190. Actual input of material was 190. Standard price is given right here. This. Plug it in. Standard quantity that we should have used as per our standards. Actual quantity we actually use is 190, and standard price is given here is 24. So you can see it's going to be quite a sizable favorable variance. 10,000 times 24, it is 240,000 plus. And plus here at FTC would mean a favorable variance, 240 favorable, and that gives you B as your correct option. Right? Now, last question involving your labor and material variances is going to be the direct labor rate variance. Labor rate variance or price variance is the standard price minus actual price multiplied by the actual quantity of hours worked. Let us identify the items one by one. And we won't look at material now. Our focus would be direct labor. This is the actual price. This is the standard price for labor. How many hours of labor were done? Labor is an input, remember. So you should look at input. Actual units of input for labor is 78. So this is going to be actual quantity, right? So gentlemen, standard price you should have paid is 20. Actual price you actually paid is 18. The actual quantity of hours worked by the labor input, that is 78,000. So if you simplify this, 20 less 18 multiplied by 78, it is going to be a good number, positive number, and positive would mean favorable, 156,000, and that's going to be C as our correct option. Okay, we've done it. Let's say if in this question it required you the labor efficiency variance, quantity variance or usage variance, standard quantity minus actual quantity into standard price of labor. Okay. Our information tells us that each unit should take 4 labor hours, right? How many units did you produce? 20,000. So if each unit should take 4 hours, 20,000 units will take 80,000 hours. This 80,000 is your standard quantity of labor hour that you should have used. How many hours did you actually use? 78. This one given right here. And what is the standard price of labor? It's given right here, 20. If you calculate this, this is going to be efficiency variance, which is not required, but we are just calculating it for our fuller understanding. 80 less 78 multiplied by 20. It is 40,000, and it's 40,000 favorable. Not needed here. What was required here in this question was the labor rate variance, which we calculated in the previous part, and that gives you 156. Okay, now what we have done so far, we are on the cost side, the flexible budget side. We did direct material price variance, direct material usage variance. We did the direct labor rate variance and direct labor efficiency variance, and the formulas are similar. Now we are going to do mix and yield variances. What are they? I told you in the previous part of the lecture that sometimes materials can be substituted. Instead of A, we can use B. Instead of B, we can use C. So when we change the composition of our input, it could result in another type of variances called the mix variance and yield variance. We'll discuss this in detail. Mix and yield, what do they actually mean? I will explain. Similarly, we have different type of labor class 1, 2, or 3. We can exchange or we can replace one type of labor with another. And this would result in some variances called mix and yield. Remember, the overall material variance is split into price and usage. And it is the usage that is split into mix and yield. Remember, usage is split into mix and yield. Labor usage is split into mix and yield. Material usage is split into mix and yield, right? Let's do a question that will explain the idea. Let's say we have different types of workers in our factory. We plan that we will use 200 hours of our managers. We will use 800 hours of our sales associate. And we will use 600 hours of our warehouse staff. This is the budgeted mix, or what you call the standard mix, SM. SM here means the standard mix. Remember, this is the standard mix that out of total 1600 hours, 200 hours will be from the managers, 800 hours of sales associates, 600 of sales. This is called standard mix, right? And we pay $22 per hour to our managers. We pay $14 to our sales associate per hour and $8 to warehouse. Now, if you multiply the standard hours of manager with the standard rate, sales associate with standard rate, and warehouse with standard rate, our total estimated cost is expected to be 20,400 for how many hours? 1600 hours. Now, if you calculate the average rate now, 20,400, our total estimated cost, divided with the total estimated number of hours of all these guys together, we are going to get a rate called 20,400 divided by 1600. It gives us 12.75, which is given right here. This is called SPSM. That is the standard price of standard mix, or weighted average price of standard mix. Weighted average price per hour of standard mix. This is the original standard. And we use the standard price. This is called SPSM, standard price of standard mix. And we calculated the average rate to be 12.75. Now, what happened? We can mix these hours. We may use more hours of managers, less hours of sales associates and warehouse staff, or anything can be done. We can change this composition. We can change this mix. This is the original standard mix. We can come up with a new mix called the actual mix. Now, the actual mix is different. This is the standard mix, 200, 800, 600. This is the actual mix, 220, 800, 480. Now, if this is the actual mix, we actually use 220 hours of managers, 800 hours of sales associates, and 480 hours of our warehouse staff. And the rate is, remember, rate is always standard. Why rate is always standard? The reason, gentlemen, is we are further analyzing usage variance for material and efficiency variance for labor. Remember, for usage or efficiency, both, whether material or labor, we use standard price only because the actual price has already been separated in the rate variance. So remember, in mix and yield, we always use the standard price, whether it is the actual mix or whether it is the standard mix, SPAM, SPSM. So that's what I want to tell you. So these are the actual hours we use. This is called the actual mix. And the standard price is the same, 22,14,8, same as given here, 22,14,8. Okay. Now, as per our actual mix, our total cost is 19,880. And if this is divided by 1500, 19,880 divided by 1500, this gives us SPAM, which is 13.2533. This is called the standard price of actual mix, or in other words, the weighted average cost per hour of actual mix. Now, what has happened? Let us analyze the variance we are doing right now. We changed our labor. We used more hours of managers and less hour of warehouse staff. So there will be two types of variances we will discuss. First is the mix variance, and other is the yield variance. Now, what is it now? Mix variance tells you whether the new rate of actual mix is that rate is higher or lower than the standard rate. This is called the mix variance. The new rate, because of mixing, your rate would change. If you use expensive staff, less time of cheaper staff, your rate would be high. But if you use the more time of our low category staff and less time of our expensive staff, the rate would be low. So mixed variance will calculate how much your actual mix rate varies or differs from your standard rate. And yield will compare that originally you were planning to use 1,600 hours. Did you spend more or less? Now let me show you from here. Now listen, this is your standard price of standard mix. You change managers, sales associate, warehouse with one another, you change the mix. If your rate is above 12.75, we will say that the mix variance is adverse. But if you mix these guys hours in such a way that your new rate is lower than 12.75, let's say 10, we will say the mix is favorable. You mixed the hours nicely that your rate fell to 10. You mixed your hours adversely, so your rate is above 12.75. Okay. Now, when you say the yield variance means that if you spent more hours than 1,600 hours, if you spent 1,750 hours, you will say the yield variance is adverse because you used more hours than the standard mix. And if the yield variance results in less hours, let's say if it's 1,300 hours, that means you use less hours than the standard mix. So in this case, your yield will be favorable. That's the idea. Please watch the video carefully when you do the questions. Now, let me show you the formulas we use. And I should write these formulas right here and apply for you right in this situation. Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to write down the formula. First of all, I'm going to calculate the mix variance. You have it on your sheet that I will share with you. Mix variance is the standard price of standard mix minus standard price of actual mix multiplied by the actual total quantity of hours worked, right? And on the other hand, the yield variance is equal to standard total quantity that you should have used, actual total quantity you actually used, multiplied by SPSM. Khalas, this is the simple thing. And you can do your work quite easily. SPSM, we calculated here the standard price of standard mix per hour. It is 12.75. But the standard price of actual mix is more. Now, why more? The reason is you used more managers' time, which are expensive hours. That is why your SPAM is higher. Your mix is adverse because your average rate has gone up. So your mix is going to be adverse. Okay, here we go. So let's put in the SPAM, the actual rate, of actual mix. Standard price of actual mix is higher, 13.2533 multiplied by the actual total quantity. This is not the actual total quantity. This is the standard total quantity that you should have used. The actual total quantity is given in the next slide. This is the actual total quantity. 1,500 is the actual total quantity. 1,500 is the actual total quantity. So you plug it in 1,500. If you solve this, your average rate should be 12.75. But since you use more managers' time, your average rate went up. So it's going to be adverse mix variance. 12.75 less 13.2533 multiplied by 1,500. It's 754.95. Mix variance is adverse. Mix variance is adverse, and it's right here. Look at this. Mix variance is adverse. My number is coming 754.95, which is approximately 755 adverse. So your mix is adverse because you use expensive workers hours more than the cheaper worker hours, right? Now let's do the second part to it now. Let us do now the yield variance. Standard total quantity we thought we should use was 1600 hours, but the actual total quantity we used 1500 hours. We used less total hours than the original estimate just because we used more managers. Managers are more efficient. They take less time to do the job. That is why the total hours actual are less than the original standard hours. So yield is favorable multiplied by SPSM, which is 12.75. So if you multiply these, you should get a favorable variance, which is going to be a green plus number, 1275. 1600 less 1500, 100 multiplied by 12.75, 1275. So your yield is favorable because you use less hours than the original plan. So 1275 is going to be your answer in the next slide. See, 1275. So this is going to be your yield variance, which is favorable. So now we got fuller understanding that in some cases, when your labor or your material is substitutable, we can mix different types of labors and materials, and this could sometimes result in mix and yield variances, which can be both can be favorable, both can be adverse. One can be favorable, other adverse, other can be favorable, first adverse. So there is no rule that they both must be favorable, both must be adverse. It can be anything. They can be anything depending upon the information given. So we can't force that any generalization or any rule. So that ends your mix and yield. Let us do a couple of questions related to mix and yield to enhance our understanding. The efficiency variance, also called the usage variance, also called the quantity variance, it can be broken down into two types of variances, which mix and yield, not spending or yield, it's mix and yield. Yield or price, no. Volume or mix, no. It's yield variance and mix variance. These are the two variances that we can split. Now we have a nice, very nice question that will further enhance your understanding. Please be with me as I explain the idea fully. We're going to calculate yield variance and mix variance. We know the mechanism. Remember, you can have different types of labors and hours to calculate mix and yield for labor. We can also have different types of materials. Material class 3, material class 2, material class 1, and these are the rates. So remember, mix and yield can be for labor and material both. Okay, now let's read the information and do some computation. Okay. Thompson Company standard direct labor rate is in effect for the fiscal year ending 30th June, and standard hours allowed for the output in April as follows. We have three different types of labor, labor class 3, 2, and 1, and the rates are accordingly highest, average, and lower. And we thought 500 hours for each class of labor. So this is, my dear people, this is the standard price. This is the standard mix. Right? First, what we should do, we should calculate SPSM, which is the weighted average rate for standard mix. So what you're going to do, you're going to multiply each hour with the hours, with the rate, and calculate the total cost first. So it's going to be 500 times 8 plus 500 times 7 plus 500 times 5. It's going to be $10,000 total cost for how many hours? 1,500 hours. So $10,000 is going to be the total cost of standard mix for 1,500 hours. That gives me an aggregate rate of $6.67 per labor hour. This is the SPSM. The wage rate for each labor class is increased in January under the terms of new union contract. The standard wage rate were not revised. The actual direct labor hours and the actual direct labor rates are given. Since the standard rates are same and we are only interested in standard price, because SPSM and SPM, there is no involvement of actual price. I told you, we don't take actual price in our mix and yield variance. This is totally irrelevant. We should take, now this is your, I was supposed to cut the actual rate. This is the actual rate. I don't need the actual rate. No. Actual rate is considered in price variance, and we've already done that. So this is the actual direct labor hour. You can call it the actual mix. And this is the standard price. The first labor class 3 is paid the standard rate of 8, standard rate of 7, and standard rate of 5. This will give me SPAM, that is the standard price of actual mix per hour. So it's going to be 8 times 550 plus 7 times 650 plus 5 times 375. This gives me a total cost of 10,825. The actual quantity that we are going to get is 550 plus 650 plus 375. It's 1575. This 1575 is the actual total quantity. This 1500 was the standard total quantity. Okay. Now we have everything what we need. We need to first calculate the yield variance, means did you use more hours or less hours? We were supposed to use 1500 hours, but we use 1575 hours. We use more hours. Yield is adverse, absolutely adverse. Let us calculate the exact number. So you're going to calculate the labor yield variance, direct labor yield variance. It's going to be standard total quantity of hours we should have used minus actual total quantity multiplied by SPSM, that is the standard price of standard mix per hour. We have everything. Standard total quantity we should have used was 1500 hours. Actual total quantity we used was 1575. SPSM is 6.67. Now, if you simplify, it is going to be an adverse variance and it's going to be exact 500 negative. It's negative, so that's why it's adverse and it's going to be A. It is going to be A, and I need these numbers, so let us not erase them. A is the answer. Now, in the same question, we have to calculate the mixed variance, and we know the formula for mixed variance. The direct labor mixed variance is equal to standard price of standard mix per hour minus standard price of actual mix per hour into actual total quantity. Now, our average rate was 6.67 for standard mix, but look what has happened here. Our standard price of this, we were supposed to divide with 1575 to calculate SPAM. 10825 divided by 1575. The rate is 6.87. Now, this will tell you a lot. This should tell you a lot. Our standard rate was supposed to be 6.67, but since you use more hours of expensive workers, we supposed to use 500 hours of labor class 3, but we use 550 hours of labor class 3, which are expensive hours. Resultantly, our actual mix average rate is more. So we are going to get an adverse mix variance also. So in this question, yield is adverse and mix is going to be adverse also. Why adverse? Because our standard rate of the hour should have been 6.67, but the actual mix is bad. Our average rate has went up, which means we are going to get an adverse variance. Actual total quantity is 1575. So it's going to be 6.67 less 6.873 multiplied by 1575. I get 319.725, which is adverse. So it's going to be a little rounding off difference maybe. So it will be close to -325 because I've rounded off some numbers here. So it will give you B to be the correct option, and B it is. So this is how you can do with the material also. If instead of labor, material is given, you will do the exact same working, and that ends your variances up to mix and yield. Our next lecture would be on overhead variances, fixed overhead variances and variable, and the sales variances. And